Why is it that every time we try to study, our brain throws a tantrum on us, doing everything in its power to avoid doing the work? But when it comes to playing video games, watching TV, or mindlessly scrolling, suddenly our attention is hooked, and we have no problem doing it for hours on end. It seems like our minds are programmed to resist the very task that can lead us to success, like we're destined for failure. But what if I told you that there's a way to make studying as fun as playing your favorite video game? You see, video games are designed to be engaging, rewarding, and addictive. They do this through several addicting features that keep players coming back for more. In order to make studying feel the same, there were two things I needed to implement into my study routine. By implementing these two principles, you can transform studying from a tiresome chore into an addictive pursuit. The first thing that you have to start doing to make studying more enjoyable is thoroughly tracking your progress. One of the most important aspects of video games that keep players hooked is the sense of progression that comes with the gameplay. By establishing an end goal and breaking it down into achievable milestones, the game constantly supplies players with a sense of accomplishment. When it comes to studying, you can apply the very same concept to make it feel like you're working towards a destination. The way to do this is by making your own personal progression system. For example, you can treat the exam that you're studying for as the final boss, and the studying for that exam as the leveling up to prepare for that boss. Just like in a game, you can create a list of all the topics you need to revise before your exam, and treat these topics like quests or levels. As you study, gradually check off each topic on your list, and keep track of your progress as a percentage of completion. By continuously getting through each of these topics, you become more and more prepared to defeat the final boss. And when you finally sit down to take the exam, you can treat it as if you're in the boss battle, using the skills and knowledge gained thus far to get the highest score possible. The reason this works so well is because it taps into our natural inclination for progression and achievement, mimicking the rewarding experiences that video games give us. By creating a clear roadmap of what needs to be done, you eliminate all feelings of uncertainty and can focus on just grinding all the way to the end. This makes the end goal a lot clearer and significantly increases motivation. The second thing that can make studying as addicting as gaming is to take advantage of what is called the sweet spot. In gaming, the sweet spot refers to finding the perfect balance between challenge and skill level, where the game is neither too easy nor too difficult, but just challenging enough to keep players engaged and motivated. When a game is too easy for you, you might enjoy the feeling of breezing through the game for a short period of time, but eventually, you'll lose interest and look for something more challenging. It's kind of like when you install cheats for the first time. Initially, you feel like you're the center of the universe, stomping on enemies with ease, but soon the excitement wears off and it begins to feel normal. Similarly, when a game is too hard for you, you're going to get destroyed over and over again, and it's just going to lead to frustration and burnout. So making a game addictive involves finding the perfect balance between challenge and approachability. I recently found out that this concept of finding the perfect difficulty applies to many other things as well, namely studying. When you're studying, it's important to ask yourself whether what you're doing is challenging enough, but not completely beyond your capability. For example, if you're doing past paper questions and you find that the questions you're solving are way below your skill level, don't waste your time with them, as you're likely going to get bored by the lack of challenge. But if it feels like you're trying to solve the Riemann hypothesis with nothing but a vague memory of high school algebra, you might find yourself better off doing some easier questions instead. If you find yourself constantly losing motivation when studying, it's probably just because the thing you're doing is simply too hard for you. And I believe this is what makes studying so dreadful for most people. They encounter material that is too difficult for them, so they immediately give up thinking that they'll never reach that level. The truth is, anyone is capable of learning anything if they just take their time, start with the basics, and gradually advance in difficulty from there. I'm sure you've had that one experience when you looked at higher level content and thought, how am I ever going to understand that? And yet, here you are, grasping those concepts with ease. The exact same thing will happen with the content that you find challenging right now. Just break it down into smaller steps, give it some time, and you'll get there eventually. Remember that learning is supposed to be fun. Humans have an innate willingness to learn new things. It's just that school has made it seem like a chore with all the stressful assignments and exams. By actively tracking your progress and finding the sweet spot when studying, you can finally experience the true joy of learning. So go ahead and apply these two principles and see how it works out. I guarantee you that studying will become enjoyable to the point where you become addicted, or at the very least, no longer a boring chore. That's all I have to say in this video, and I'll see you next time.